Welcome to Past the Wire TV, your #1 source for horse racing news and interviews, handicapping analysis, betting insights, and more. Past the Wire TV covers the biggest races at the best tracks.
Garnet and Luis Saez to win the Monmouth Stakes at Saratoga. The Grey Wizard is absolutely flying. Champagne won. The Grey Wizard. Oh, it's very close. Leave it to the judge.
Like, share, and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
They're off at Saratoga.
Tracking trips from Past the Wire and the Pick Six King, John Stetton. As your handicapping partner, John is your second set of eyes on the past performances, replays, numbers, trips, and more, helping you find the angles and plays others miss. Each week you get expert analysis, smarter ways to press your opinions, and the keys to cashing bigger tickets. Tracking trips from Past the Wire. Give yourself an edge and partner with a pro. Get a second set of trained, experienced eyes. Join today. Membership has its benefits. You're watching Past the Wire TV.
What do you say, everybody? Geo Sette back at you for a full 2024 Haskell Stakes deep dive. You know, one thing about the Haskell and Haskell Day as a whole, as much as I love Saratoga and I appreciate the Saratoga meet, Haskell Saturday, at least for me, I take a step back and I focus on the entire Haskell Stakes and the undercard. This year, no different. 14 races, starting at high noon, very long day. My enthusiasm for this race is super high. I'm prepared. And on this show, talking only about the Haskell, but I promise you, for those that are in tune to what I share over on X at Sette Better Days, and for Past the Wire, you're going to get my full card grid in precise order. And I'm going really deep. And there's some very interesting horses and races on the undercard, and some guaranteed pools in the pick 5 and pick 4. So, like I said, there's still going to be some interest at Saratoga because a couple races I've already capped as I was part of the Saratoga Saturday show, and I'm going to bet those races. But for the most part, 90%, 95% of my focus is going to be on Haskell Day. So tonight I am breaking down the Haskell Stakes, and there's a little twist in it. It's sort of like an unfair twist. Now, unless you're living under a rock or you don't really keep abreast to the current news that's showing up in your feeds in terms of the thoroughbred racing community, the Haskell drew a field of 8 horses. Now, you've heard lots said about this field, and the two big contributing factors that make a lot of things uncertain is whether Fierceness is making a trip and or Dornock making a trip. Both of the horses were training exclusively at Saratoga. Now, Fierceness, of course, trained by Todd Pletcher, owned by Mike Rapoli. Mike Rapoli is also the co-owner of Mindframe. And Dornock and I don't think this is pretty cool. I love Danny Gogg, a New York guy and all, but to create uncertainty or controversy only because Dornoch drew the rail, that's not my cup of tea. You know, you got Sayaz. He's coming off a very, very big race, of course, in terms of what he accomplished at Belmont at Saratoga, the Belmont Stakes. You know, if he's entered, well, I mean, if you hold him back and let him run into Peter Pan instead, what if he draws the rail there? So that's what's happening right now. So as a handicapper, it's perplexing because you got to go all in one way, but be prepared for the other way. So for the sake of this handicap, I'm leaning towards, at least from the rumor mill and what I'm hearing in terms of different levels of research, but this is sort of unprecedented because I spoke to some pretty influential people today while I was at Monmouth. And today's Thursday as I'm taping this, 2 days before. And I'm hearing that Pletcher, when he brings his horses to Monmouth for a big race, he normally sends them, vanned over very early to crack of dawn on race day or the night before. So I know for a fact that Mindframe wasn't there at Monmouth today. He will be in this race. He's most likely entered, but Fierceness wasn't there, okay? And Dornoch wasn't there yet. So lots to be seen. I'm prepared to give you this handicap without Fierceness in the race. Now, I'm going to add some notes when I get to Fierceness in the post position order that if he's in the race, he is absolutely dangerous, okay? So I just wanted to set the tone to, for all I'm sharing with you guys. And I promise at the end, a full, precise order of finish. And I have some surprises too, all right? I worked hard on this, watched a lot of race replay. I am prepared, okay? Got one of my Haskell hats on. I think it's from 2021. This year, the Haskell hat is a beautiful deep red, almost like a deep red burgundy. Can't wait to get it. Be wearing on one of the shows. And like I said, I'll be a part of every bit of the festivities on Haskell Day. And if you watch closely, you'll see me, Geo Sette, for Past the Wire, in the paddock as the jockeys get on the horses. In the paddock, all right? And then trackside. I promise you. All right, let's go over the field. Race 12, Monmouth Park, Grade 1 Haskell. By the way, one more footnote, and this is no exaggeration. I was born and raised in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, moved to Staten Island when I was married. And then even when I was married, I was going to the Haskell every year. So it's 2024. I don't have the exact number because a few years I had some family obligations. My kids were much younger, and it just contradicted what was going on at Haskell Day. But I have probably been in attendance at the Haskell, with no exaggeration, about 35 times. All right? So I know the track, I know the race, and right now it's my home base because I'm down the shore. Okay, let's get started. The one is Dornoch. Now, most of us know a lot about Dornoch, all right? One thing about Dornoch, I mentioned some other shows. He was real sharp as a juvenile. And then he seemed to have a couple races as a 3-year-old, which he questioned his overall ability. But there were many incidences or circumstances that didn't run in his favor. For example, the Kentucky Derby, got the one hole, never got to the lead around the first turn and just was out of his element. I put a line through that race. What Dornoch did in the Belmont Stakes was special because he did all the hard work, all right? And even though Mindframe in the race was in a position to win, he drifted out. Dornoch took and stood to the task at hand. A lot of credit to Luis Sayaz, and they pulled off the upset at a big number. I was actually worried about that day. He wasn't my selection, but I knew the capability was there. I knew he had a big race in him. So coming into this race, all right, he is a Grade 1 winner. He's a 2-time Grade 2 winner. Those things, important contributing factors because it's the whole body of work leading to the Haskell that makes you who you are and have the ability to win such a race, okay? Going 9 furlongs. So I like horses who ran as a juvenile, who wanted the distance, or has demonstrated to me that they have progressed as a 3-year-old. And he fits the bill. So he's a contender. I will give you my final precise order at the end. I am not leaning on him to win, but he's a contender in a race, especially if fierceness doesn't show up, because fierceness creates havoc on the front end, and he's got those monster races that put him in a category that nobody else has reached before. Jasper's Pride is the 2. This was actually cute. I spoke to some good people, some high-ranking people at Monmouth today, and I smiled when you think about how they entered this horse in this Grade 1 Haskell. Let me give you some information. So Chuck Spina, I love the guy. He's been around forever. He wins a lot of races at Monmouth. But, obviously, think about these circumstances. And here's where I think the morning lines are crazy. So Jasper's Pride is 30-1 on the morning line. In my humble opinion, he should be 80-1. 80-1 on the morning line. Here's why. Nothing but a sprinter. 6 starts. He did win 2. He's a Jersey bred. All right? So he's a New Jersey bred going into open company for the first time. Stretching out for the first time. Also, so he's going into open company, stretching out, and his numbers are just significantly lower and inferior to 5 or 6 of the horses in the field, and even inferior to one of the other horses who I couldn't even list as a contender in this race. Really up against it. Now, he is cross-entered in the Jersey Shore Stakes on Friday. Now, to me, that makes a lot more sense. He can't win this Haskell. He probably can't even finish 6th in this Haskell. And if he runs in the Jersey Shore Stakes, he's going against a real hard hitter in Bookham Dano, who won the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. So really up against it. I just humored the morning line. I guess they do that respectfully. If this horse runs in a Haskell and it's not 70 or 80-1, I would want an investigation. But what happens at Monmouth, a lot of people frolic around the track. They're picnicking. It's the biggest day of the year, and you get that drunk money. Oh, let me play the 2. My cousin's name is Jasper. Jasper's Pride can't win this race. And Jasper's Pride can't win the race on Friday if he's entered facing much superior horses. Let's move on to the 3. Tuscan Sky. Now, Tuscan Sky, I am very, with a capital V, very intrigued. This is a good-looking gray. If you watch all of his races, which I did a second time, he began his career. Didn't run as a juvenile. I don't like that. But he began his career early in the year. Wins on debut, going away. Maiden special in the mud. Then he goes to the fairgrounds, wins again. Impressive. And improves his numbers. What happened to Wood Memorial, sort of unexplained. And to me, I put a big line through it. Because he didn't have much of an excuse. And he took a lot of money in, but sometimes the elements of the day, horse is not right. I thought he'd take to the track. It was his first try on a fast surface. Didn't do any running in the Wood Memorial. However, then he comes back over this surface at Monmouth and runs a significantly imposing, impressive, visually impressive race. If you watch that race, that was the $150,000 Pegasus over the track at Monmouth. Now, they put blinkers on him. This is where Todd Pletcher is a special trainer. They put blinkers on him. And when you watch the way he ran, he ran even more comfortably and confidently than he did in his 2 previous victories. Blinkers helped tremendously. He ran away with that field, ran a big number, a 99 buyer. It was a rider switch to Castellano. Castellano's back. There were 5 horses across the track. He was on the inside. Think about how the blinkers helped him. So if you watch the race, literally 5 across the track before they got to the top of the stretch, and he stuck to the task at hand on the inside, and then he just pulled away. He pulled away. He won impressively by almost 7 lengths. I have no reservations about the distance here. Son of Vino Rosso. Vino Rosso, if you know, and I've been following Vino Rosso as a sire. Vino Rosso won some big-time races, including the Breeders' Cup Classic. So not only is Tuscan Sky dangerous in the race, like the way he's working, but ultimately, if Fierceness does not run, I'm putting Tuscan Sky right on top. Because, like I said, it's a combination of improvement and being visually impressive. And if the race dynamic pans out the way I feel it will, I think Tuscan Sky is going to have a nice trip. And, you know, back to the blinkers, back to Castellano. He's got to go a little longer, but I think he's primed to go forward. So he'll be used on all my tickets. And if Fierceness doesn't make the trip, and I'm going to get to Fierceness if he does make the trip, I like Tuscan Sky to outfinish these guys. And I did this late in my handicap because in the beginning, I wasn't too sure. But then I recognized an element that was really important. Let's go to the 4, Timberlake. Now, Timberlake, I'm also intrigued by, okay? Got a lot of my notes here. Let me have some aqua fresca. Hold on. Us Italian guys, when we do a lot of talking, we got to stay hydrated. All right. Timberlake. A lot of respect for Brad Cox. And I believe this guy is in great shape. 3rd start as a 3-year-old. 3.5-month layoff. 6 consecutive nice breezes, weeks apart, all at Churchill. 1 from the gate, which I really enjoyed watching. I thought was a real nice work. And it's 2nd time, Flavien Prat. Now, some people may say, well, what happened to Timberlake during the Triple Crown races? Well, listen, he ran really well as a juvenile. He's a grade 1 winner as a juvenile. He's a grade 2 winner as a 3-year-old. I think the layoff's going to help. Brad Cox has proven his value in this race. He's won up the Haskell Stakes 2 out of the last 3 years. And 1 was with Cyberknife, who set the track record, 146-1. Cyberknife. Mr. Sette was in attendance, and I went home with a boatload of money that day. Those who know who's close to me, because I had Cyberknife that day, paid like $17, and the exacta with Tabor, and the triple, because I shorted Jack Christopher that day. But anyway, that's just a little history I'll give you. But Timberlake, imposing. I feel he's going to move forward. Major win contender. I like him in my triple. I really think he could hit the exacta, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's close to Tuscan Sky. Remember, if Fierceness is not in the race, this is all without Fierceness. Let's go to Fierceness. But by the way, he looked great. I saw Timberlake with my own eyes today. He's in good shape. Fierceness. Yeah, a lot of my following think I'm enamored with him. And, you know, listen, I have a tremendous respect for a horse that makes me say, wow, several times. All right? Rapoli, Johnny V, Pletcher, and what sticks out in my head is not his Kentucky Derby appearance. and performance because it was lousy. I admit, I was on him in the Kentucky Derby. I believed, and I took a beating. But I had a thrill because he was right there at the top of the stretch over Track Phantom, and I thought I was going to score, but it all fell apart. But fierceness, you go back to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and you go to the Florida Derby. No horse in this race has performance factors or races like that. Numbers-wise, confidence-wise, and dominance-wise. So if I believe fierceness is going to stay at Saratoga, he's working well, run in the Jim Dandy, and then run big in the Jim Dandy, and then be prepared for the Travers, which is about a month later, 4 weeks later. Now, if fierceness comes to town, and like I said, it's unprecedented because we don't know at this time. And I spoke to so many people. But my gut feeling is Rapoli's part owner of Mindframe. Mindframe is going to be in the race. We're going to get to him. Fierceness is staying back. But if he says it's like a baseball player or a football player, game time decision. If he makes the trip, fierceness is going to be a handful, and fierceness changes my handicap. So I think fierceness is a threat to win it all if he's in, especially if they bring him in. Okay? I still think that Tuscan Sky and Timberlake are going to be ready. But if fierceness comes in, it lessens the value of Dornock. Okay? Keep that in mind. Because obviously the presence he'll make on the front end is just ridiculous. Okay? Even with his layoff. Let's move forward. Let's go on to the 6. Just step on it. Just step on it. You know, Louis Linda, Florent Garou, Giroux. Sorry if our Italian guys don't say it right all the time. You know, a nice colt, good productive 3-year-old, 5 exactas in 9 races. You know, New York bred. I like these guys that try, but just step on it is just over his head. That horse can't win this. His morning line is accurate. It's 30-1. That's where he should be. It's not like Jasper's Pride, who's 30-1, who should be 85-1. So I'm not using just step on it on any of my tickets. I think he's a field fuller. Good for the connections. You know, Accelerate his dad wasn't a bad horse, but I can't use this horse at all. Let's go on to Mindframe. Now, Mindframe is more than just a wild card. He's probably going to be favored in this race, but I dug down a little deeper. Those that are close to me, they originally knew that if fierceness wasn't coming, that I was going to side with Mindframe because I like Mindframe. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Irad. This is also from Pletcher's barn. However, all right, he is turning back to 9 furlongs. He was very green, unfortunately, late in the race at the Belmont Stakes. Has he shown the flair of the dynamic? Absolutely. Talent? Absolutely. Could he win this? Is he a contender? Absolutely. If fierceness is not there, should he be favored? Absolutely. However, when I dug down deep and I realized that Tuscan Sky, you know, really impressed me, as well as the progress I see in Timberlake, I started to, I started to draw a picture in my head. And as much as Mindframe could be a handful, and I like the way he's working, and Rapoli is part owner, and he will run in this race. If fierceness is in the race, I don't like Mindframe. If fierceness is not in the race, I like Mindframe underneath in a close battle. I don't think any horse wins by open lengths with Tuscan Sky and Timberlake. Now, Dornock is a little bit of a wild card here. If fierceness is not in the race and Dornock breaks well, I don't think Louise is going to have him on the lead. Too much to ask from that post. But he may sit a good trip, and he's proven to have a lot left. And now, of course, Dornock is also cutting back from the 1.25 mile distance at the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. So, we handicappers, we got to be decisive. Could Mind Frame win and blaze him? Absolutely. But he's never won a stakes race. He should have won the Belmont Stakes. But to his credit, he's got the maiden special and the optional claimer. He does got IRAD, and Pletcher is who he is. But Pletcher's got other horses here, all right? He's got Tuscan Sky, and I think Tuscan Sky is classic Pletcher. He showed basically nothing in the wood, took in a lot of money. He puts blinkers on the horse, and visually impressive. And I think the horse has another forward move, and he has the advantage that was over the Monmouth strip. Keep that in mind. Let's go to the bottom horse, C Streak. Again, one of the longer shots in the field, but this guy's got some credibility to be entered in the race. He's not like Jasper's Pride, and he's not like Just Step On It. All right? If I could bet the bottom exacta, I would bet the bottom exacta would be Just Step On It over Jasper's Pride. But anyway, C Streak. And this is all due respect to the connections. I'm only going with the scientific proof, the numbers, and what I see with my eyes in the performance. I mean, it's an absolute scientific impossibility for Jasper's Pride to win this Haskell. All right? So C Streak is a nice horse, but he got blown away by Tuscan Sky in the same race in the Pegasus. How can a horse a month later turn the tables by that many lengths? Now, I do like Jairo Rendon because I'm a Monmouth enthusiast, and Rendon is riding lights out. He's a good jockey. I actually think he's going to move on eventually to become more of a recognized name. He can ride at Monmouth. So the right riders on him. But being blown away by Tuscan Sky, he needs a career best buyer or / performance to contend in this race. He may be a pain in the ass on the lead, which could be a hindrance to Mind Frame. That's one of the reasons why, listen, the whole race comes together once we know who precisely is running. As a handicap, like I said, I'm bothered. I don't think I've ever seen this happen where 2 nights before we don't know definitively. Yeah, there are vet scratches. There are circumstances that happen. But game time decisions, whether a hot horse is going to run or not, makes it difficult. So C Streak, nice horse, 6 for 8 on the board. He's run 8 times. I like his wins. He won a race over Monmouth by open lengths. And, he didn't break as great, but too much to ask. There's too much to ask. So, with that said, the Geo Sette Haskell precise order, if Fierceness runs, he's coming here to win. He's a handful, and I'd put him right on top. That's 5-3-7-4-1-6-8-2. If there's no Fierceness, I think Tuscan Sky is going to pull off the upset. Maybe pay like $13 or $14. We'll watch the board there. But Tuscan Sky over Timberlake. I believe Brad Cox has that horse ready. So Tuscan Sky over Timberlake, over Mind Frame, hot battle in a stretch, over Door Knock. Door Knock is capable of winning this race, but at least coming into this race, and as much as I love Luis Saez, and he's burnt me numerous times, if Fierceness is not there, he's got a better shot. But he's still, I just find the others more appealing in this spot from the one hole because they're going to have a jump on him. So 3-4-7-1-6-8-2. If Jasper's Pride scratches and runs Friday, tomorrow, and I'll be at the track on Friday, probably, after this should air tonight or tomorrow morning, Friday, I'm not betting Jasper's Pride in that race Still should be a long shot in that race, but at least it's not an impossibility. And there's a real hot shot horse in that race that won a Grade 1 to Woody Stevens in Bookham Dano. So there you have it. All right. If you have any questions, I do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. If you guys ever wondered about the picture I have up here, that's the Great Cigar, my favorite racehorse of all time. I have written, I feel, a very interesting article about Cigar. If you go to PastTheWire.com or Google me, Geo Sette, Past the Wire, Cigar, read that column. It's very interesting. What a horse he was. I mean, 17 consecutive wins. So things to look forward to. I'll be back for Saratoga Saturday next week. I was part of the Saratoga Saturday show last night. If you haven't watched it, go watch it because we go over the curling. That's tomorrow, Friday, and the coaching club on Saturday, as well as the Lake George. And, you know, let's go get them. And if you guys follow me on Sette Better Days, I promise you I'm in the mood to do it because I'm working hard and I'm going to be right there at Monmouth in the press box, in the paddock all day. I'm going to release my full card grid. You still have to value your own opinion, but I feel it'll help you make a very informed decision at the window, precise. And I may go 5, 6, 7 deep and precise in every race. At least you know I did the work. All right? So have a good night. God bless you. God bless your families. I appreciate your viewership. And let's go get them.
They're off in the 2023 First Crop Sires race. Maximum Mischief makes the lead with the most 2-year-old maiden special winners by any sire. On the backstretch, Mitoli and Omaha Beach close the gap with stakes performers from coast to coast. Vino Rosso finds his best and leads on the turn with 4 Grade 1 colts on dirt. But it's Mitoli with his 3rd TDN Rising Star, your champion freshman, leading an impressive Spendthrift Superfecta.
With new
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Go to drf.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Mini, a top 10 first crop sire in 2023, standing at McMahon of Saratoga. 14 first crop winners, including My Shady Lady, winner of the $500,000 New York Stallion Series 5th Avenue Stakes, Grade 2 winner, Winstock, and Stakes winner, Solo Shot. Solo Mini, the 7th leading freshman sire and the only top 10 freshman sire with a Grade 1 or Grade 2 winner. He sired a $700,000 2-year-old at the OBS April sale. His juveniles sold for nearly 6 figures on average, more than 12 times the stud fee. Solomini, a controversial DQ from being a Grade 1 winner by 2-time Horse of the Year Curlin, standing at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds.
does it better.